Working on a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Issue is it's got the driver's side and the passenger side HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And it's got auto. It's controlled for the drivers and the passenger. But the problem is the passenger side is not blowing warm. The driver's side is blowing warm, but the passenger side is not. So I got the tail plugged in. We'll go to control unit. We'll go to body. We'll go to HVAC module. We'll read codes first. And we got a body code of B11CA-00. Right temperature door travel too large. It's an active code. I don't know if this freeze frame will help us at all, but we'll take a look. Just tell you test failed, true, so yes. It's not pending, it's confirmed. DTC, diagnostic trouble code. Alright, so then I'm gonna look at now. Got a B11 Alpha or B11 Charlie Alpha -00. Go to live data. And we'll pull up our temperature. It's the blend door, right? So there's a blend door for the driver's side and a blend door for the passenger side. It's controlled by a basically a servo motor that moves the door left and right or anywhere in between to get your temperature. So let me pull up some live data here, see what's going on. Alright, I want the switches on the HVAC unit, the left, and the right. You can hear it trying to recalibrate. Every time you turn it on, I believe this thing calibrates. So, the left side, which is at 84 degrees, I can turn it up and down. It's set on both. Let's go to there, get off defrost. There we go. Turn the fan down. Alright, now we're good. So now we're moving the left side down. And if you look there, the left side, it says main left temperature actual and target position. So I moved it to 0. I moved the way code 63 degrees. The target 0 and the actual 0. If I go back up, just say 65 degrees. Target's 48.6 and its actual is 48.6. So the left side's working. And you can see the switches on top here. When I press up and down on the left, they're working. Okay. Now the right side, this one here, the switches are working. If you look at the right side, those switches, down and up. But we're at 70 degrees and the target is 84.7, but its actual is 0. If I move this, I don't know, either way I guess, I can move it up. You can hear it trying to calibrate, but it isn't changing nothing. That stuff's not changing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, pull up the wiring diagram, the service data, and go right to the actuator, which I believe is under the glove box. Make sure all the wiring's good. It's probably just an actuator. And then when I put a new actuator in, I believe you got to go to system check and actuator calibration. It needs to be calibrated. This one doesn't need to be calibrated right now, the one that's in there, because, well, I tried to do the calibrating it earlier and it did not calibrate because obviously the actuator or wiring issue, but I believe it's an actuator problem. So once we remove and replace the actuator and check the wire integrity, it's all good, we'll do an actuator calibration. So now let me pull up the service data. Alrighty, so I went and pulled up the service data, but in the wire diagram I printed. So if you look, actuator blend door right, 2 wires, go to this module, which is your heater AC module. So it's just the 2 wires going to it. Looks like you got a common door driver 2 and a passenger blend door driver. So I guess it reverses the polarity back and forth with the motor, but the service data shows, of course I take this with a grain of salt when I troubleshoot, but B11CA-00, right temperature door, travel too large. Says, I don't want to read all this, but theory of operation: after the initial installation of the AC heater control, the controller is calibrated to each individually blend door actuators. These calibrations are stored as the number of pulses it takes to move the door from one stop to another. The AC heater control drives the door actuators by the use of the door driver circuit and common door driver circuit, and monitors all the door actuator positions to detect door movement in both directions. So that's it there, the common door driver 2 and the passenger blend door driver, which goes back into your HVAC AC heater module. And then, where am I at here? Most of the door actuators share a common door driver, but each door actuator has its own unique driver circuit. Well, yeah, the common one is shared with the front mode door, so that is shared. That's spliced there. So that is correct. It says, due to the shared circuitry, similar DTCs can be set at the same time for multiple actuators, depending on the type of circuit or malfunction, its location, and the direction of the actuator is moving when the malfunction is present. So basically, for this code to set, the B11 Charlie Alpha, it has to, where are we at here? Set condition. The HVAC module stores the normal open position voltage and then normal closed position voltage of the door. If the door goes beyond one of the learned positions by more than 1/4 of a volt, this DTC sets. And that's what it, possible causes. Your punt list, take it with a grain of salt. But now what we're going to do, we can follow this, fault isolation here. But I'm going to go right to the actuator, pull the glove box out, go right to the actuator and check for a 5-volt supply circuit and check the wiring. Go from there. Alrighty, so went ahead and removed the glove box first with the assembly, the spring-loaded assembly. Literally released a tab here, a tab there, then you lift it out. Remove the side cover, which just snaps in on the side there. Remove this bottom piece here, which is just some plastic rivets that press in. Pop those out. And then this big plastic piece here, there's 4 7mm screws, and then 4 7mm bolts, then 2 up here. They're T15 Torx bits. Pop those out, and this whole plastic assembly right here comes out. It's easy stuff there. And if you look up in there, you can see it. There's the actuator right there. The 2 wires. We're going to go ahead and check the actuator, the wiring, if it's the actuator or if there's something, maybe some plastic gear's broken, who knows. But we'll take that out next and go from there. Alright, I think I told you it was that one back there. That's not the one. That's the recirculation door. The one that it is right here. So I already took the old one off. I got it on the bench up here, but that's the old one. And then I'll show you here the got the new one here. If you look, there's an alignment mark from the factory when they build these. You gotta get it blended. You can see the arrow pointing to that bigger open spot there. That's lined up, but you can see the gears, and they gotta make sure that's hooked. You can only put it in one way. It's easy. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in, and we'll go from there. All right. So I got the new one in, bolted in the wire harness. I didn't even check the voltages going to the wire. I knew it was a bad actuator because I did some bench testing on it with my DC power supply. And there's 2 things I noticed. One, if you look real close, it's cracked there, so it's kind of slipping in there. and also hook it up and give it 5 volts and reverse the polarity, and was intermittently moving with my power supply. So I knew that was the problem. I didn't need to go use my AS wave kit. I mean, I could have, but already found the problem. So the wire integrity is all good. So that's all good there. We just got to put the glove box back together and everything. But I want to show you now the live data as far as right temp. Sorry, let me get it here. I already did the recalibration, which I can show you how to do that too. So if I push it's on high right now. The right temp target's 100% and it's actual 100%. So I'm just going to decrease the temperature. And you watch the target go down. Get it down here a little bit. So I set it to 75 degrees. He wants 90.5. Its actual is close to it. There's a tolerance zone. I'm not sure what it is, but it's way within. Usually, I think it's plus or minus 5% on these, about 5 or 7%. But we're within that. There, it's perfect right there. So it adjusted. So we're good. If I go down more, keep going down more. Everything's working as advertised. Go back up. Everything's working, so I crank this thing back up. Go to 100%, turn the fan on. Engine's warmed up. We're warm on this side, and we're warm on that side. Both warm now. Mold works. Go to the floor. Defrost floor, face. Got floor in defrost. Good and warm. Sorry, you can't see my hand, but we're warm there. Warm there. So if you look at that too, the mode has the same kind of data. Get all these out of here. So the mode, if I change it to, I'm on face there, or panel they call it. If you look here, it goes to that. If I switch it to panel in floor, target goes to 72.9, actually goes 72.5 within the specification. Change it to floor only, 38.8, 38.4. So it uses all this data, kind of the same thing, but everything's good. But for me to, when I put that new actuator in, you can go to system check. What you do is you go to Actuator Calibration. This test will move the HVAC doors to their full travel limits to determine the travel span of each individual door. So you do this, and it even tells you in the service data, if you replace any of these actuators, you have to do this calibration test. What it does is it moves all the actuators back and forth to their end stop. So it's going to calibrate now. We'll put all this back together. This Jeep is good to go. Again, the reason I checked the wire integrity going to it is I found 2 problems with this. One, it had a little crack right there. So it's slipping on the gear, pushing on it, because it knows it needs to have an end stop. There's only 2 wires, right? Give 5 volts, ground, 5 volts, ground, and it stops it. How does it know when to stop? It reads amperage back through the module here. Well, if this is flexing, it's not actually, it's stopping, but it knows that it's out of its specifications. Not only that, it was acting real funky when I hooked up the DC power supply with my leads. So, I mean, I can move it with the power supply, hooking these up, but it doesn't, it doesn't really handle much a load for amperage, obviously. So that is it for this 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee Jeep. Actually, here, I got to show you this almost. So the actuator calibration test is completed. The actuators, the mode, that's true. That means true is passed, false would be that it failed. So that passed. Actuator 2 right temp, true, it passed. Last time it said false, but now it's true. 3 recirc, 4 left, all of them true. So all the calibrations are good to go. Everything passed. So this vehicle is good to go. Let me just show you that there is no codes as well. Everything's cleared. I'll be running. See, no fault code. So good repair. Good to go. That's it.